The personal information of millions of South Africans has been released on the internet. It includes ID numbers and other confidential details. Well, Information Regulator Chairperson Advocate Phansi Tlhakula joins us. Advocate, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, but this is not a great story, is it?
Yes, it's not, but there are positives to it.
Let's talk about the negatives first.
Let me start with the good news.
Okay, let's go with the good news.
The good news is that those who doubted the importance of having the information regulator in South Africa have been proved wrong. It's important to have a body that will protect personal information of South Africans. So that's the good news.
And how did it work in this case? What was your impression? What is your understanding of how this all happened?
You know, it's a negligence, really, because if you process personal information as the responsible party, as the Act refers to, you have to ensure that there are adequate safeguards to secure the information that you are processing. But in this particular case, the facts are so complicated because we don't know where that personal information originated of so many people, because there is a story that it comes from a company called Draco. We don't know whether that's true. And even if Draco, or even if the personal information came from credit bureaus, the credit bureaus have to process personal information for a particular purpose. And the information that is there goes far beyond the information that could be in the possession of credit bureaus.
And that is the problem right there. If we don't know where it's come from, we don't know where it's going to, we don't know how it's going to be used. You mentioned the word negligence, Advocate. I'd like to pick up on that. With negligence, no doubt there'll be consequences. When we find out who, what, how this happened, how do you proceed? What do you see happening?
You see, the difficulty that we have is that the regulator is not fully operational. If it was fully operational at this point in time, we would have investigated this case, and whoever is responsible for negligent processing of personal information would have been fined up to 10 million rands, because that's what the law provides.
So not fully functional, if that is the case, outside of that spectrum of not being fully functional, what happens next year in your way of managing the situation? What would you like to see happen next?
What we have been saying to everybody, including the media and all private and public bodies, is that the Act is here to stay. The protection of personal information is here to stay, and people have to put processes in place to comply with the Act to ensure that they process personal information in a lawful manner. And if all these people that are involved in the scandal had done so, wouldn't be where we are, would not be talking what we're talking. So this is the opportunity for everybody to ensure that they comply fully with the Act, because once the Act comes into commencement, then there will be serious consequences, including criminal offences.
Do you think South Africa, as a final question to you, Advocate, if I may, do you think South Africans will ever trust giving their personal information out again?
Of course not. And it's not only about personal information of people, it's also about how this has portrayed our country internationally. If we cannot manage personal information of South Africans, it means other people also will be very, very reluctant to do business with us if we cannot protect their personal information. So I'm saying that this is a lesson, and we all have to step up to ensure that we put compliance processes in place.
It's a very good last point. Advocate, thank you. It's always a pleasure talking to you, and I wish you the very best of luck trying to figure out what's happened here. I hope you and I will be talking about this again. Information Regulator Chairperson Advocate Phansi Tlhakula joining us here on Afternoon News. Here's your headlines.